Good morning, everybody. My name is David Banks, and this is my presentation for CIT 360, client and server sockets and their I/O streams. So this subject is a little bit more up my alley since I work on networks for a living. So I'm just going to kind of go into a brief explanation of kind of what I/O is and what exactly you're trying to do when you open up those streams in Java. So in I/O streams, you have input and output, and there's two different protocols, two different network protocols that are generally used. There's TCP over IP and UDP over IP. For the most part, TCP over IP is used more commonly because of the way it's written. It is it's more reliable. UDP is not a very reliable protocol because there's no guarantee that what you send will be received in the same order that you sent it. So in other words, if I send a data packet 1, 2, 3, 4 using UDP over IP, there's no guarantee that it's received in 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be received in 2, 1, 4, 3, completely out of order. However, TCP is reliable because it guarantees the packets you send will be received in the order in which they were sent. So if you send 1, 2, 3, 4 over TCP over IP, you will receive that same data stream in the same order. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So generally speaking, TCP over IP is used and not so much UDP. UDP is used for a few different things, but for the purposes of this class and this example, we're going to be using TCP. So just to give kind of a basic example, I will pull over this web page real fast before I go into the example that I've written. Wrong one. There we go. So as you can see here, if you want to just open up a socket, make sure you can, is that on my screen? Oh, no, okay, there we go. Okay, here we go, right page. Okay, so if you want to open up a socket or a connection to somewhere, you use the phrase socket and your client name, whatever that is, and then you want a new socket to this machine name and using the port number. So machine name could be your server name, for instance. So if Google server was Google server 1.google.com, then that's what you would put as the machine name, and using port number, whichever port number you want to use. So there's a few different common port numbers. FTP uses 21, SMTP, which is mail, uses 25. 80 is normal internet traffic, and 443 is normal secure HTTP traffic over the web. So there's just a few different ones, and so as you can see, the easiest way to figure out whether or not that connection is actually working once you've created it is to write a try-catch statement. So that's what we're going to do in my example. And as you can see, it tries to reach your machine or your client, whatever your name of your server is, with the port number. And if it doesn't work, then it throws out an exception. So that's what I've worked here in my example. I'm going to go through a couple different scenarios, but this is an SMTP example. So that's what I talked about earlier. This is simply an easy mail example to have send an email. So as you can see, I've declared my socket as my SMTP socket. So I want to use the SMTP protocol. And then I have my input and output stream. And I have created a try-catch statement with a couple of different exceptions. One is it didn't recognize the server, so the name of the server, and I'll go over that in just a minute, or it was unable to even make the connection at all. But if it was successful, then it would try and send an email, and that's what this os.written bits is for. It is an email that would be sent. So I won't actually be sending an email, but I do have an SMTP relay client set up on my machine just for as an example. So first I'm going to run this project. And I'm going to try to run the SMTP example, but I get an exception that says was not able to open the IO connection localhost. The reason that I was not able to open it is because I don't have my email relay turned on right now. I purposely turned it off as an example so that you could see what one of those exceptions were. So I'll go ahead and exit out of the program, and I will misspell on purpose localhost, which is the name of my local machine, and run the program again. And this time it says it did not recognize the server named localhost. So it sees that it's running now, so we get a different exception, but it could not find the server that it was looking for. So now I'll spell it correctly and do one last run through. And this time, see, it says connecting to server. That's my computer name at the domain I work at work. This is my work machine. So it says service is ready, and if I had a full functioning email server, what I'd be able to do at that point is I could actually set up what I've created right here to do an actual email. So I mail it from my email address, in this case to myself. I put data in, and it would send off that email. So that's the basic function of the IO streams. There's a lot of different uses for it. Email is just one of them, but this is just a simple example to show what its capabilities are in Java. So thanks for joining me. Have a good day.